Christmas everyone. As a special Crizzy present, I'm finally going to present that video. The big one. The coup de grace. My most requested video. My top 10 favourite Sonic the Hedgehog games. As it's already been established, the Sonic series is my favourite video game franchise, and it's home to some of my favourite games of all time. Now take this one as you normally would with other countdowns, respect my opinions and choices, yada yada yada, and don't complain if your favourite doesn't make the list. But I'd love to hear what your favourite Sonic game is, so feel free to leave a comment below. Let's celebrate the holidays with my most sacred Christmas gift. This is MadJack64's Top 10 Favourite Sonic the Hedgehog games. Enjoy. Let's start this list off with one of the most underrated Sonic games, Sonic Heroes. For many fans, when discussing Sonic's best games, Sonic Heroes is quickly dismissed as many fans, like me, felt it was a drastic change from Adventure 1 and 2, and the gameplay revolving around teamwork rather than getting from point A to point B made this game stick out like a sore thumb. But I still enjoyed it, and I find the game rather underrated. The teamwork aspect, while different, is still as enjoyable as Adventure's gameplay, and the music is once again brilliant. The graphics, while nothing special, have definitely improved from Adventure 2, and the replay factor is decent, I guess. This game is also home to some of my favourite Sonic stages, like Seaside Hill and Mystic Manor, which are all an absolute joy to blaze through. My only complaints are the sometimes twitchy and unresponsive controls and the ridiculously bland characters and story. Don't believe me? Just listen to the dialogue.
Excuse me, miss. I was wondering if I could ask you something.
If it's about a date, it'll have to wait.
Date? You think this is a joke, you little brat?
Now hand over that chow nice and easy.
I bet you're the ones who took chocolate chow.
What?
It's not nice to tease my friends.
Yeah, time to rock and roll!
Oh, that sucks.
But I digress. Sonic Heroes is still an enjoyable platformer worth playing, but compared to others, you may want to pass. What kind of list would this be if I didn't include the original? The debut of the Blue Bro has always been regarded as being one of Sonic's finest. The sense of speed really differentiated it from other platformers at the time, which made it feel fresh and new. Throw in silky smooth controls, a nostalgic soundtrack, and gorgeous graphics, and this game is truly a masterpiece. Sonic the Hedgehog went on to becoming Mario's biggest competition, and their rivalry continued for over a decade. So why is it any higher? Well, I'm a 2000s kid, so I didn't have the privilege of playing this game as a child, which is why many classics don't make the list. If you haven't played this game, you are seriously missing out. The Blue Blur's first outing is a masterpiece. Now, if you may have noticed, Sega isn't all that great at bringing Sonic into a racing style of gameplay. Sonic Drift 1 and 2? Crap. Sonic R? Crap. Sonic Riders? Crap. And Sonic Freeriders? I feel your pain, Angry Joe. But by process of elimination, you may have noticed the one game I didn't mention. Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. Out of all the spin-off Sonic games, this is my favourite. I don't know why, but this game has always just appealed to me. As a sequel to Sonic Riders, everything has been improved. Most importantly, the CPU, which is now a lot more forgiving and less cheap, and the controls, which are now more smoother and much more responsive. The graphics are naturally an improvement, and the music? Awesome. The racing tracks are even pretty good too. Special mention to the Boulevard tracks, which contain so much Sega lore it'll make your head explode. But the real reason I love this game is for the multiplayer. I cannot even begin to tell you how much fun this game is with 3 other people playing. The chaotic nature of this game is perfect for get-togethers and parties. If you're looking for a multiplayer game that's different from the rest, I highly recommend Zero Gravity. It's one of the best Sonic has to offer. Often regarded as being Sonic's finest hour, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was already a spectacular game, so how do you make it even better? That's easy. Create some convoluted lock-on technology so I have the ability to play as Knuckles.
Of course!
Sonic 3 and Knuckles is debatably Sonic's best game, and for good reasons. Not only can you play as Knuckles now, but you can also explore totally new zones and areas, and collect not only the 7 Chaos Emeralds, but the mysterious Hyper Emeralds, which grant Super Seizure Power! Here's an interesting piece of trivia. Did you know that one of the music composers for this game was none other than Michael Jackson? That's right, MJ composed a Sonic game. No wonder the soundtrack is so good. So not only did he make Thriller, Bad and Beat It, he made Ice Cap Zone. Ice Cap Zone. But all jokes aside, Sonic 3 Knuckles is definitely worth purchase, and is more than eligible to take the number 7 spot on this countdown. Flashback to 2001. It's Sonic's 10th anniversary, and we're all hyped as hell to see what Sega has in store for this most momentous occasion. And boy did they hit the ball out of the park with the release of Sonic Adventure 2. Often regarded as the best 3D Sonic game, Adventure 2 pretty much improved upon everything from the original. Better graphics, a better soundtrack, better story, pretty much better everything. And let's not forget about the introduction of the new character, Shadow the Hedgehog. Hands down my favourite Sonic character to date. Oh, and no Big the Cat? Sold! My only complaints are the lack of adventure fields and the rather boring treasure hunt and mecha stages, but these are just nitpicks. Also worth mentioning is the remake, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, which in my opinion surpasses the original by adding in new minigames, characters, and an overall better experience. And recently, this masterpiece was released on PSN and Xbox Live, so we can experience this great adventure in high definition. Easily one of Sonic's greatest games to date. Now I think everyone can agree with me that after Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, the series definitely went downhill. A constant barrage of just terrible games made us feel that Sonic was officially dead. But out of the darkness, like a train light emanating from a dark tunnel, Sega thrust forth the greatest Sonic game in years, Sonic Colors. This game was like the can of air freshener after Sega's previous nasty shits. I couldn't believe how impressed I was with this game. The graphics look like they belonged on the 360 and the soundtrack is absolutely gorgeous. The new gameplay style revolving around the Wisp power-ups felt fresh and new and were an absolute joy to use. No sword, no werehog, no gimmicks, just a perfect Sonic platformer. Yeah, it was a little short, but the introduction of the red rings makes for a great replay value. Throw in hilarious writing and a great setting taking place in an intergalactic theme park, and you have a game that you must own for your Wii. This Sonic platformer passes with flying colours. All through the late 90s, video game developers were all focusing on one thing, the third dimension. After Nintendo blew our minds with the revolutionary Super Mario 64, Sega got thinking, what if we combined Sonic the Hedgehog with Super Mario 64? This with this. This with this. Oh, of course, we get Sonic Adventure, the best-selling game on the Dreamcast, and for good reasons. It took everything we loved about the 2D Sonic games and successfully brought them into the third dimension. Not only can we play as Sonic, but also Tails, Knuckles, Amy Rose, and two new characters, Gamma, a robot with emotions that rebels against Eggman, and Big the Cat. The less said the better. With the exception of him, all the characters are absolute joy to play as, and each have their own story which intertwines with others. The story mentioned before is nothing too spectacular, but basically Eggman discovers an elemental creature known as Chaos, which grows in power when it comes in contact with a Chaos Emerald. I won't spoil anything, but let's just say the final boss is one of the greatest in video game history. Combine this with perfect controls, a stellar soundtrack, and a perfect length, and you have a game that will go down in history as one of Sonic's finest. By process of elimination, you probably have guessed what my favourite Genesis Sonic game is. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. A rare example when the sequel is actually better than the original. Apart from the controllers, which are basically untouched, every aspect of this game is better than the original. The graphics are now even more colourful, and the environments are a lot more creative, taking place in factories, caves, and even outer space. The soundtrack is once again classic, and anyone that's played this game has at least one music track that sticks with them. Emerald Hill, Chemical Plant, Death Egg Robo, they're all great. And who could forget Tails? Before they turned him into a whiny little girl, he was the shit. But the real reason this game shines is the addition of a 7th Chaos Emerald, which grants Super Sonic transformations. It's over 9,000. I'm not gonna make that joke. If you're a Sonic enthusiast, you have to own this game. It truly cemented Sonic as one of gaming's most beloved icons. The year is 2011, Sonic the Hedgehog's 20th anniversary. I have to admit, I was still a little hesitant about what Sega was going to do. I mean, I was still recovering from their previous anniversary game. Ugh. But after Colors, I was convinced that they might be handling Sonic the Hedgehog the proper way again. and my expectations went through the roof when I heard the plot. Consider this a best-of compilation for Sonic, taking fan-picked favourite levels from each main series entry Sonic game and updating them with HD graphics and sound. With these aspects going, how could I not be excited? And when I finally purchased the game, it did not disappoint. Sonic Generations truly demonstrated that Sonic isn't dead yet, and Sega was kind enough to release this in a way of saying thanks for all those Sonic fans dedicated to the series. Hands down the best Sonic game in years, Sonic Generations brought back classic Sonic to team up with modern Sonic as they each raced through some of Sonic's finest levels, including the classic Green Hill Zone, the fan favourite City Escape, and even Crisis City from the dreaded Sonic 06. The controls were perfect. Classic Sonic feels just like he did back in the Genesis days, and modern Sonic doesn't handle that bad either. The graphics are also incredibly appealing, and seeing some of our favourite levels in HD remakes is truly nostalgic. And need I mention the soundtrack, Modern Rooftop Run. Overall, this game kept me in an absolute state of nirvana from start to finish, and was my absolute favourite game of 2011. But what game could possibly top Sonic Generations? Well, let's recap. Number 10, Sonic Heroes. Number 9, Sonic the Hedgehog. Number 8, Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. Number 7, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Number 6, Sonic Adventure 2. Number 5, Sonic Colors. Number 4, Sonic Adventure. Number 3, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And number 2, Sonic Generations.
No! God, please, no!
Okay, I was kidding. Time for the true number 1.
Want some chocolate?
Sonic Unleashed. Even though I love Sonic Generations, I couldn't justify myself to put it above my all-time favourite. When I first played Unleashed, I said to myself, oh yeah, this is it. The perfect Sonic game. What made it so enjoyable was Sonic's return to his roots, 2D and running super fast. The daytime stages with Sonic the Hedgehog are an absolute joy to play, and taking place in realistic environments across the globe, which adds a lot of depth to the game. This also holds the trump card for having my favourite soundtrack out of the entire franchise, along with hands down the best graphics as well. The controls are now a major improvement from previous installments, and is by far the most epic story of all Sonic games. But aren't I forgetting something? An important part of the game? Oh yeah, the Hedgehog. Okay, I'm just gonna flat out say it. I loved playing as the Hedgehog. Yeah, I did. I felt so empowered and badass. Landing those finishing blows on enemies much larger than I am felt so satisfying, and the platforming wasn't that bad either. If there was one Sonic game I'd play till the blue blur finally croaked, it'd definitely be Sonic Unleashed. It is my favourite soundtrack, my favourite story, my favourite selection of levels, and is by far my favourite gameplay. I am MadJack64, and Sonic Unleashed is, and always will be, my favourite Sonic game of all time. Thank you for watching, and Merry Christmas.